State your name and address if you don't mind, and you can feel free to speak.
Sure thing. Good evening to the town of Garner. I'm Patrice Johnson. My address is 118 Cossack Circle, Garner, NC 27529 in the Vandora Pines community. All right.
Okay, you may proceed.
So on tonight, many of you have probably been made aware via media outlets that we had a very vicious attack in our neighborhood on April 27th. The Vandora Pines community has been rocked forever. I've lived in this community now for 17 years, and these dogs are dogs that were not known to be as vicious as they were, but there have been now a time where we need to make sure we have action. The neighborhood has been made aware that the dog owners who currently live in the neighborhood have requested a permit for dangerous animal, which is against the current covenants that we have. So on tonight, I'm speaking on behalf of our neighborhood. We have neighbors that are here with me on tonight, as well as many that are watching via your Microsoft Teams. So I'm just going to provide to you some of the commentary that we as board members, which I am currently one of the board members, have received. So as I just mentioned, we had a vicious dog attack, and the neighborhood is very, very concerned. There are a few things that they want to make sure you guys as a board are aware of. The dog has killed one of our jewels, Jayden. Jayden played with many of the children that currently reside in the neighborhood. This will forever be something that's stapled in their minds. It will cause undue stress to them to have these dogs brought back to the neighborhood, which is the current request of the owners. And so at this time, we're asking that you reject this permit request, given the nature of the incident and the fact that we've lost one of our children. Her mother, Heather, is still severely injured from bites sustained by the dogs as well. The dogs would be across the street, so some of you may not be aware, but the dogs would be across the street from the home who has already experienced the loss and trauma of this attack, because there's only a street between these two properties. Children in our neighborhood are still currently dealing with this, as they're asking questions about when Jayden will be returning home, to which their parents are having to feel. Even under the best circumstances, dogs can escape. So despite all the structures that the homeowners are now wanting to put in place, it still will have an emotional distress and undue anxiety for the community as a whole to hear the dogs bark or have them be seen in the neighborhood. As homeowners at Vandora Pines, we do have our covenants which stipulate that we're not to have any vicious animals. So requesting a permit for a dangerous animal will be in a restriction that is currently addressed in our covenants. So finally, I would just like to note on behalf of our community, regardless of the safety features, to bring animals back into a neighborhood with dozens of kids to whom I've already mentioned have played with Jayden, many of whom know her very well or knew her very well, and many of whom were in the vicinity when the dogs attacked and killed her. There are no safety measures allowed by the HOA or otherwise that make these children feel at home, that these dogs kill their friend while they're barking in the back of a fence. At the current time, we would just ask that you reject the proposal for the permit, and I know that's something that would have to be taken up at a later time, but I also want you to hear from Blake DeCillo, who was the first responder who had to deal with this in real time, as he can provide you commentary that you probably have not already seen or witnessed in the news media. We appreciate your time to have this brought before you on tonight, and should you have any further questions, you can certainly reach out to the HOA of the Vandora Pines community. Again, my name is Patrice Johnson, and it's a pleasure to present this information to you on this evening.
Just as you're leaving, I know some of you raised your hand, so at this time, those of you who are here from the neighborhood or in conjunction with this tragic incident, if you will just raise your hand so we'll know who you are. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we are ready for you, sir, I believe, and let me see, I do have, is it Blake?
Yes, sir.
Pronounce your last name for me.
DeCillo.
DeCillo, okay, thank you, sir. And you live at 181 Ron Drive?
151, sir.
Excuse me, 151, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, yes. And again, we'll ask you to be sensitive to the time frame.
Absolutely.
But go right ahead, sir.
Again, I live at 151 Roan Drive, and I just wanted to give a little bit of insight of what I saw on that afternoon. I've been a Raleigh police officer for 15 years now. I'm on a specialized unit that deals with some pretty serious stuff on a daily basis. That day will change me forever. I did not see two dogs defending their property. That's not what I saw. I saw two dogs viciously attacking and mauling two unconscious people, okay? The little girl was face down, but she was completely unconscious. The mother was completely 100% incapacitated and unconscious. Those dogs were not defending their property. They were viciously attacking and mauling two defenseless people. I won't get any more graphic details, but I can assure you, nobody should ever have to see what I saw. And I stand unequivocally with this community. I've been told several times that if it wasn't for me arriving on scene when I did, first one to come through the gate, that Heather would not be here. This is not a gold star on me. This is me telling you that I live in this community. I live directly across the street. I see children playing at that intersection daily. And that's the main reason why I wanted to live there. It's an awesome, beautiful community. Please listen to what I have to say and tell you that in 15 years, I've never seen anything like I've ever seen on that afternoon. And I've been to some very serious stuff. So, again, thank you for the time. I just wanted you to know that this was not a defenseless act by two dogs. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that purpose. And I know all of you came in support of these two speakers. I believe I'll ask Ms. Jones if she'll just give a brief overview of sort of the process that we have to go through in regards to this circumstance. And I can assure you that the town and its attorney and others will be very diligent in pursuing this matter. Things don't always happen as quickly as maybe you'd like to see. But Ms. Jones, do you mind just giving us a little overview of the process we're going through?
Certainly. On behalf of the mayor and council and the manager and staff, we acknowledge that not only the members of the public who are here, but many members of the public have expressed their concerns about the dangerous dog permits to town council, the mayor, the managers, and staff, and we are fully aware of those concerns. To explain the role of town council at this time, in adopting Chapter 3, the Animal Control Ordinance for the town of Garner, the town council has delegated the responsibility for determining whether certain dogs are dangerous animals and for reviewing and approving dangerous animal permits to the animal control officer. Ultimately, the decision on the permit will rest with the Garner Police Department and the Garner Police Chief. They will make the review process for these permits has not been completed at this time, but once that decision is made, those persons who are aggrieved by either the approval or denial of the permits may exercise their rights at that time. This may take the form of an administrative appeal to the town's appeal board, or this may take the form of a temporary restraining order or injunction issued by a judge. So at this time, there has not been a decision on the dangerous dog permit applications that have been submitted. That will come at some point in the future. There is no deadline for reviewing those, so the police chief and the police department are gathering information and verifying the information that's been provided.
Very much. So I hope you understand fully that there is a process that we are following closely. We have to do that as part of our ordinance and as part of state general statutes, and we certainly will do that and pursue that to its end result. And we hope to have we hope to have those decisions made in a reasonable time, and certainly those will be publicized and made available to the public. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Manager, that you're aware of? Okay. I will try to speak for the council at this time and just say that we mourn with the family and for you as a neighborhood. I used to live pretty close to your neighborhood over in Tiffany Woods, which is just up the road from there. And I drove out to the area there and looked around the area. So it's a lovely neighborhood, and I know in time you will do what you have to do to move along it and get over this. But thank you for your interest and your time, and rest assured we will do what we have indicated here. Okay.